going on, Dragon Ball Super players? Welcome back to another video. This time I've got a skill video for you guys. This is going to teach you how to kind of combo more appropriately if you're looking to get a little bit more competitive at the Dragon Ball Super card game. So one of the things I notice when I'm playing against a new player, you can kind of just tell this right off the bat. When you see someone comboing it appropriately, you can kind of just tell they're a new player that is kind of still trying to get the ropes of the game. And there's ways to improve your knowledge of when to combo, and I want to help you guys figure that out if you're looking to get a little bit more competitive. So the name of this game is definitely Card Advantage. So that is mainly because of cards having combo power. If you can stave off attacks and out combo your opponent, especially at the end game, you're going to be in a really good predicament. So if your opponent's down on 5 cards and you have 14 cards in hand, it's very, very unlikely they're going to be able to get any damage to connect. And the majority of ways to win this game is through dealing your damage so your opponent life goes to 0. So yeah, card advantage is key in this game. That's why something like Cell Chain is so insane, because lowering your opponent's hand down to 3 really limits their plays, their options on their plays, and their combo potential. So you really want to be able to combo appropriately. So I've got a couple of tips for you guys that I'm going to share with you on how to combo a bit more appropriately. So there should always be a reason why you're comboing. A lot of players will combo in defense. This is a very key part of the game, but they'll do it a little bit recklessly. So one thing you want to try to avoid is comboing to save something inappropriately. So let's say I have attacked with a battle card. Let's say it's like 15k and it's in rest mode, right? So let's say my opponent's leader's awakened. Their leader's at 15k, matching my battle card in rest mode. They swing into my rested battle card. Now we have a couple other assumptions. All the energy is standing up. Let's say they have 4 energy standing up. They have a fine hand size, like 8 cards, and we know they're playing spot removal in their deck. They can blow up battle cards with skills, and a card they're attacking doesn't have barrier. So they attack our battle card. They draw a card. Let's think through if it's really worth for us to combo against. It would take us 1 card to combo, and they've just drawn a card. So our card economy would be very, very poor. We'd be at a -1 at that point. And then they have 4 to 5 energy open to do more plays. They can summon another thing and attack it. Depending what color they're playing, if they're playing red, they can summon like a Jiren and attack it for 30k, and then we have no shot of comboing out of it. If they're playing green, they could play a card with spot removal, like I mentioned before, know if they're playing something with spot removal. And these are things we have to take into consideration. How many times are they going to be able to attack this battle card and force us to combo to save it? It's most likely going to be the case in this situation that I'm describing, that you're just going to want to let the battle card die, because at the end, when it's all said and done, either they're going to make you waste a card for no reason by spot removing it, or they're just going to keep attacking it and make you waste more and more cards. A different situation to read is if your opponent's tapped out, any battle cards they have on the field have already swung. They do swing with their leader, 15k at your 15k battle card. You let it go to combos. They haven't comboed anything like a Senzu Bean. They haven't comboed Unyielding Trunks. They have no energy. They have overwhelmed already. They have no plays to kill this battle card except for the leader attack on this 15k battle card of yours. At this point, if the battle card is good, if it's valuable, if it's drawing you cards, if it's killing other things, if it's got double strike, things like that, this is probably a better time to decide to save it, especially if it's late game. So if you know that they only have 1 attack left to kill it, and you have a 5k combo in your hand that's not really doing too much else for you, it's probably a decent idea to save that card if it's valuable to you, especially in the late game when that card is going to put additional pressure on your opponent. If your opponent's anywhere from 4 to 1 life, saving that card for the next turn to attack them with it, to make them waste cards to combo out, is probably worth it. So those are the kind of situations you want to read. If you can remember specific examples like I just mentioned, if your opponent has a high potential of killing that card through multiple means, it's probably not worth saving that card by wasting cards out of your hand. If it's very unlikely that they can keep attacking it, and that card is going to further your game plan, whether you want to evolve over it, you want to pressure your opponent with it at the end of the game, it very well may be worth it to save that card. So these are things you kind of need to think about when you're deciding whether to combo defensively for a battle card. This is a mistake I personally made. I was actually playing this Son Goku leader, and these cards are here just for your viewing pleasure. They're some of my favorite cards in the game. They're not relevant to this discussion per se, but I was actually playing this Son Goku leader, my Veggie Son Goku deck, which is one of my favorite decks of all time. I had a Kale on board, and I was at 5 life, and I was just playing at home with a friend. We were just playtesting the deck, and he punched at my Kale. He comboed up to 20k, and I decided it was very important to save it. I comboed a Khalifa out of my hand to save it when I was at 5 life, and the Kayle ended up surviving, but the next turn I drew a card, I looked at my hand, and I had no way to awaken. So that was a huge problem. So in that situation, I don't particularly remember if I had a different 5k combo, but I gave away my awakening tool, which would have been way more important, because with this leader, I would have been able to untap energy, make more combos, draw more cards, tap down my opponent's stuff. So you have to really weigh down things like that. It was very much more worth awakening for me in that case than it was for me to save the Kayle. So these are some things you need to consider when you're trying to defend your battle cards on defense. This is actually a good strategy for you guys to jot down if you're taking notes or if you're just trying to add things to memory. When you're playing a deck that has spot removal, swing at a battle card. If it's valuable to your opponent or you think you can get away with it, your opponent may discard a card to try and protect it, and then you just drop a spot removal card and blow it up. This way you made them waste a card for no reason. This is a pretty good strategy. Some of the top tier players may not fall for it necessarily, but catching them off guard, maybe your deck's not solely around spot removal, maybe it's a kind of unexpected play your deck can do. This is a way to kind of make your opponent waste cards, because if you can get up in card economy, there's a very good chance you're going to win that game. Now we'll talk about comboing to protect our life. So 9 times out of 10, when your opponent's attacking you when you're at 8 life, even up to 5, you're going to probably take it, especially if it's an attack that is adding a card to your hand. Like I said, card advantage is key. Now there's some exceptions to this, especially in this new format coming up. Flute-aggro.deck is going to try and put you to awaken on their turn 1. So that's a lot of pressure. That's why a lot of these defensive strategies like green into full power energy are very popular. So defending attacks like that is important, especially now that a lot of decks have ways to self-awaken anyway. So you need to really gauge what your deck can do if it's awakened very early. Does your deck need to play a slower game? Do you need to defend those lives? In that case, you play things like more negates, full power energy being a very good one, your free Hans, any of your combo into play battle cards, and your unbreakable Spirit Sun Gokus. So yeah, if you know you're playing a slower strategy, taking hits that are going to add cards to your hand is usually probably worth it. Just let your opponent help awaken you. Like I said before, that one instance where I effectively stalled myself out was very, very gruesome, and it ended up with me losing that game. But yeah, you need to know if your opponent's playing an aggro strategy, and this comes into more of a meta call kind of video where you need to know what the meta is and what your opponent's playing, but that's for another time. So yeah, just knowing how aggro your opponent's deck can go and needing to stave off those attacks and play a slower game, that's what you need to know when you're deciding to combo into defending your life. Now, another thing with defending your life is, let's say I'm unawakened, my opponent's unawakened, and their leader's attacking my leader. Let's say for some reason I want to stave off the attack. Now I have energy up. I have the option to use a combo into play battle card. Let's say I'm using Son Goku. I can combo into play my Evil Occupation Frieza, or I have a 5k combo that's not really doing too much for me. They attack me. They don't combo, so it's 10k at 10k. Do I use the free Han, or do I use the 5k combo? Now this obviously depends on several other variables, but what I usually like to do, rule of thumb, don't over combo. So let's say they have a green energy up. I see that they have the ability to play a newfound power Son Gohan, and in that case they're going to be swinging at me with a 15k crit. So this 10k punch, if I really need to save it off, I probably would use a 5k combo, because when they drop a 15k threat that I need to defend against, like especially a critical one, that's when I want to use my 10k combo, like my Evil Occupation Frieza or my free Han or my Unbreakable Spirit Son Goku. Because that extra 5k for that 1 energy 10k combo is going to only require me to use 1 card to defend against a 15k combo. 15k battle card, sorry. So that's kind of what you want to take into consideration. I usually don't like to overcommit to combos, over combo. If my opponent's attacking me with like let's say we're both awakened, my opponent's attacking me with 15k, and I'm at 15k, I usually won't use a super combo to defend it, because overcommitting that extra 5k combo can be really valuable later on in the game when they deal out higher pressure attacks. So typically don't over combo, don't use a 10k when you don't have to. Use 5ks when you can get away with it. So that was a bit about comboing defensively. You don't want to overcommit to combos. You don't want to over combo when you don't need to. If your opponent has a high propensity of killing your battle card by multiple means, it's probably not worth saving it. Those are just things to keep in mind when you're trying to combo on defense and not waste cards inefficiently. So now we have offensive comboing. So a lot of times, like I said, new players don't really understand the whole thing about card economy, about saving your cards and making sure you're not wastefully comboing with things. You need to really take into consideration, if I have my 10k leader and I attack my opponent's 10k leader and I'm not running like an aggro strategy or anything, how likely is it that they're just going to take the card to hand and take a +1 versus comboing out of it and negging 1? The odds are they're just going to take the damage and take a life to hand because it gives them an extra card. The odds aren't that they're going to combo to defend that damage. So why would I pump a 5k battle card into my leader attack when I don't really need to from a card economy standpoint? That's something to consider. Now, there are times you're going to want to go heavy on combos. Sometimes when you're attacking a battle card that you really need to deal with, if it's very problematic, that's very valid. But now we want to make sure we're not doing this by really wasting cards. So this is a very good example. Take Ape Blockers. Very popular deck. Great Ape Blockers. There's kind of a rule of thumb when you go against those. You want to either get up to a 20k attack on a blocker, because they have to waste at least 1 card to defend it, usually a 5k combo. Or you want to get up to 30, because at that point they need to use 2 cards in order to defend it. If you go up to 25 against an Ape blocker, they are going to just easily get out of it by using one of their free 10k combos thanks to their King Ape Vegeta or Super Combo, things like that. So any 10k combo will easily defend them out of that. You need to go either 20 or 30k, because 30k guarantees they need to use 2 cards in order to defend it. Now, this is an ideology you can take when you're kind of attacking any battle card. You need to be able to weigh how much your opponent has, in, like, combo potential wise, how much energy do they have up to defend, meaning how much access do they have to 10k combos, how many super combos have they gone through. You can check how many are in their graveyard, you can check how many are in their warp, you can check their energy as well. Sometimes people would charge them for some reason. And yeah, that's kind of the approach you want to take when you're attacking battle cards. You want to make sure you're not wasting cards carelessly. Now, attacking an opponent's life. This is actually something I see people do very well, because for the most part, when your opponent's at 2 life and you're attacking with a double striker, you know, just pump your whole hand if they're not playing Shigeshi Kid Goku. So there are some ways though to kind of make your opponent take damage when you need them to. Let's say that my opponent's at 3 life. That's 3. Let's say my opponent's at 3 life and I am trying to push for game. I have, let's say, a 15k critical attacker and then a double trigger that I know that it's showing lethal, but it's not lethal until I take all the damage. So I attack with my critical guy. They don't negate. I have 2 super combos in my hand. If I pump this thing up to 35k, what are the odds that they're going to be able to defend that? I need to look at, like I said, their energy that they have up, how many super combos they've used, how many cards in their hand total. So let's say I have 1 energy to use. So I'll go 2 super combos and an Unbreakable Spirit Son Goku. 45k critical attacker. And my combos. Pass it to them. That's a lot of damage for someone to combo out of. Especially if you have the ability to potentially drop multiple threats if you have more energy up. So let's say they take the damage, because in this instance I kind of forced them to. I put so much damage into this attack, and the reason I did it was because it helped me push for game. I didn't give them the card out of it because my guy had critical, which in this instance it's not necessarily terrible to do this with a non-critical card, but I'm just making the example a little bit easier. And now I have my double striker. I drop my Scientist Fu for 1 energy and overwhelm 7 and draw 2 cards. So I know I'm getting more cards even then to really put pressure on. I attack. They don't have a negate. Now I dump my whole hand in this attack. But I strategically comboed the attack before to put them in that lethal range. And I also didn't lose any cards out of it because I used 3 combos that drew me cards. So these are kind of all just examples of how you kind of want to think and have a thought process of when you're trying to decide, is this combo worth it? Should I defend to save this card? Should I put this much pressure on in order to make my opponent take damage? Is it worth comboing into this attack? And these are things you all just really should consider when you're determining when to combo. If it's going to cost you multiple cards and it's not the late game where you need to defend it, rule of thumb, it's probably not worth it. I was actually just playing against, I want to say it was a new player because of the way he played. I was playing against someone playing the U7 Gohan leader, and I was playing Masan, so I'm playing a heavy crit strategy. and I'm doing my thing, double strike crit on his life. I go up to a 25k double strike crit, and he wasted 4 cards out of his hand to defend that. Now the leader can make that back up somewhat easily, but he was at 8 life, so it really was not worth it. If you're gonna neg yourself that hard, that's just as good as me actually hitting those 2 crits off your life, because I made you actually waste 4 cards instead of losing a potential 2 cards. So yeah, this has been a video about some instances and some ideas on how to combo more efficiently. I hope you guys like this kind of video. If you do, please let me know. I'll gladly make more videos like this in the future. If you dislike the video, let me know that too. Let me know how I can improve it. I want to put out quality content that you guys can reflect on and absorb, and hopefully show off to new players who are looking for tips like this. So please let me know what you think. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to our channel so we can get you more great Dragon Ball Super content. With that being said, my name is Joey. This is Crossworld TCG, and we'll see you next time.